Greetings, Ashen, the comic book hunter here for another comic book hunt. Welcome to the show. Welcome one, welcome all. I see we have at least two people watching, so I appreciate you being here. If anyone is new to my show, I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you. There are 4 sections on this show. The first section, I review comics that I picked up from this last week. Then in the second section, I promote a few indie comics, because that's kind of where things are headed. The future is indie comics. And then the third section, I usually talk about some random thing. I don't know if I have anything today. There might be one thing, but we'll see. We'll see. And then the final section is when I talk about upcoming comic book titles, what you might want to check out, and why. All right. Well, with all that said, let us go ahead and get started. First comic book I picked up this past week was X-Force. Yes, X-Force number 9. If you have not been collecting X-Force, what can I say? This is an exceptional series by Benjamin Percy. He is also currently writing Wolverine, and that is another fantastic series. I know not everyone feels that it's that great, but I actually really enjoy it, and I love this guy. So hopefully he doesn't turn around and backstab all his fans at some point or something, because I'm getting tired of that. But yeah, I'm loving Benjamin Percy. He's got 2 great titles, and X-Force is definitely one of them. It's probably the best X book out right now, in my opinion. It's very violent, but there are also moments where, there's the characters really come through, and they shine. And in the beginning of this book, there's a lot of that. So this is a sequence right here. This is some stuff that's going on. The X-Force has to investigate some weird happenings on an island, and it turns out that there is some weird plant-based stuff going on. Now, if you have been reading X-Men at all recently, then you know that this is sort of the theme of the X-Men, plants and regrowth and people dying and coming back. But yeah, so there's some crazy alien vine-like stuff going on. And it really reminds me of there was a single, it was either just 1 or 2 issues of Old Man Logan where a small town was invaded by this alien plant, and he had to figure out how to deal with it. And in that way, this story is very similar to that. So I don't know if it's connected to that Old Man Logan storyline or not, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And another aspect I like about it, like I was talking about, was there's this whole sequence in this book where all the X-Men and the good guys and the villains all on the same team now, and they're just kind of chilling out. And I really picked this picture out because I wanted to just show you something. You could be like, who's this weird character, this gray guy over here? Well, I believe I tried to get an answer out of Benjamin Percy on Twitter, but he didn't answer me. But I believe this character is Skin. And Skin, I believe, the last I heard, he was dead. He was crucified. And so I'm very happy to see him here, alive and well, probably resurrected just like everyone else. He does have a bit of a different look. He's always been kind of a homely guy, though. But it's good to see him back in action. And I was looking through the comic, because there was this big party looking for him, and I was like, nobody's ever going to bring Skin back. Nobody cares about him, but here he is. So this book has my highest recommendation just because I believe my man, Skin, is back alive and kicking. Okay, so the next comic I'm going to talk to you about is... The Unkillables, DCeased. The Unkillables, number 2. Yes, this is another interesting book. Now, I would have to say that out of all the DCeased books, including even the first issue of this one is probably the weakest entry. They do have some good character development in this issue, but my main part about this is it's the same artist as the first issue too, but the art really suffers in this book, and I'm not sure why. Maybe because the artist was rushed or something, but like, he did an incredible job in the first book, and then we moved over here, and as you can see, it's not terrible, but I don't know, like, the last book was just much more dynamic. There's a bunch of, like, you can see the sides of their faces and stuff. I don't know, just felt like he was trying to rush through it, so maybe it was a scheduling thing. But overall, the story in this book was pretty darn good. I was really happy with it. There was some good violence in this story. As you can see here, we have the infected Wonder Woman tearing somebody in half. No spoilers, you have no idea who that is. But this was kind of a good book to catch up on everything and get a little more character development in. I do feel like this was probably the weakest entry in the entire series so far, but this series has been really good, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. So if you're interested in reading more DCeased, then you probably won't be disappointed with this. I wasn't. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go on to some comic books that are indie and in need of your support. And I'm going to talk about these because I have a personal connection to each of the 3 campaigns that are going on that I'm going to be promoting this week. So let's get going. The first campaign I'm going to talk about is Secret Comics Presents. This is by Nasser Abadi. And if you know anything about him, he's a good guy, a bit controversial, but no, he's a good guy. Watch his live streams and stuff like that. And I have been collecting a bunch of his stuff for a while now. His books, his comic books. He's had 2 campaigns so far. And, you know, this just looks really good. It's going to be sort of an anthology for terrifying stories, and I just can't wait to see what he does. This new artist that he's got on hand is really good, too. Apparently, he used to work in the 90s and stuff with, he did a Spawn comic, I believe. So that's pretty awesome. Go check out Secret Comics Presents. Link is in the description below. If you like horror like me, if you are a horror hound, then this is sure to be right up your alley. Okay. The next book we have to talk about is Legends of Lone Wolf, which is a great book. It has, it's by Doug Garrett, and he's a good guy. I've gotten a lot of stuff from him so far. He's a little late, but he is very vocal about what he is doing and how he is trying to get it out to everyone. He always keeps everyone updated, and he is not shy about the subject. So you can really use this opportunity while he is running just a little bit late to get this series. It's excellent. You can get the first comic. You can get the Legends of Lone Wolf, which is another anthology comic talking about different points in the main character's life. And so, yeah, just go check it out. He's this immortal monster hunting Native American. And yeah, it's a pretty good series, nicely paced, has some good background. And I think you might enjoy it once again, especially if you're into horror such as myself. The third and final book I'm going to talk about is Jack Irons' The Steel Cowboy. We are on issue number 3, but you can get issue number 1 through 3 in this campaign. These people, they want to get 10,000 for this, and they really deserve it. They have turned out 2 books already, and like I said, you can get those and the third book all at an incredibly reasonable price. Let's help them get to $10,000 so we can get that third issue. I really want to see them succeed, and let's go on to the third section of 4. Excuse me. Excuse me, I just choked on my own spit. Elegant, yes. So I don't really have tons to talk about in this. I usually talk about something random. I was thinking about talking about one thing, but now I think I'm going to talk about another thing. So while we're on the subject of all these comics that indie comics that people are coming out with, let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like when they are delivered. So this is Lone Wolf. This is the color edition, and I got the ash can here, and I have the black and white edition here. This is all from the first campaign. They are delivered. You can get stuff like that. I also have, look at this bad boy, signed. See the moon? Signed by Doug Garrett. That's awesome. Awesome. So he delivers. And then we got Nasser Abadi 13. We got the original Stardust campaign. That was his first campaign. And we have the second edition of Stardust. And we have Trixie Kane. Check out these. Let me show you real quick. Got some bonus cards with that. That's pretty badass. And last but not least, I'm going to go through the 2 issues I got of Jack Irons. So here you go. This is Jack Irons number 1. A story that sets everything up. Really excellent. And last but not least, finally delivered, we have Jack Irons number 2. They were delivered at separate times, but they were part of the same campaign. Got a little like a little bookmark or something in the back there, a little promotional piece. That's really cool. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to get through those real quick so you could see what they are like, and try to go ahead and support these campaigns. Now on to the final portion for the evening. Let us talk about comics that are coming up next week. Okay, that was a little weird. Whatever. So what do we have coming up next week? Let's see. We have, speaking of Benjamin Percy, Wolverine number 2. Yes. This cover looks incredible. And I'm sure that the contents are going to be incredible too. I wonder if they're going to be splitting it up into 2 separate stories like they did with the first issue. I'm really interested to see if they continue with that pattern throughout the series. I did like how they broke it up, so it kept things fresh and you didn't get too overburdened with just one storyline going on. Yeah, check it out. Wolverine's been a good run so far. Not everyone has been digging it, but I have enjoyed it, and I am really looking forward to the story that builds from the first issue. All right, next up we have Batman, Curse of the White Knight. Yes, book, what is that, 8? Yeah, book 8, okay. I don't know if this is the last book or not. It's either 8 or 10 books in this series, so this might be the last one. They really set it up like it was going to be the last one according to the last issue. So this might be the last Batman Curse of the White Knight, but I'm not certain. However, the last issue, like the story, there was some aspects of it I wasn't super fond of, but I have loved the series so far, and I'm willing to give this issue the chance to see if it can build with what it went on, and see what they'll do with it. It's been amazing so far, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing this finale, this final battle between Batman and Azrael. The city cleared out. Batman, did one last bargaining chip, and now it's just going to be him and Azrael in one grand showdown. So let's see what they do with that. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. A real spectacle. Just like every time these people clash. So I've been thoroughly enjoying this series. Like I said, I think the last issue was probably the weakest, but I doubt that's going to go on here. I am looking forward to a spectacle. All right. Next we have Ravencroft number 3. This series has been pretty good so far. Last week was, not last week, but last time all these comics came out at the same time, it must have been just kind of an off week, because once again, Ravencroft has been an excellent series so far, but issue number 2 was the weakest out of all the issues. And I'm not saying, when I say they're weak, I'm not saying they're bad. They're just not as good as everything that came before. So we'll see which way the direction's going to go, which way the wind is going to blow when it comes to Ravencroft number 3. But I am looking forward to it. It is dark, macabre, has some really interesting elements to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it. Lastly, we have Coffin Bound. The graphic novel is coming out. I missed this series when it came out, and I'm very sad about that, because I really enjoyed it when I saw some of the art and what they were doing with the stories. Very trippy, very dark, very like Clive Barker-esque sort of horror, very dirty and grungy and brutal in areas. Everything I love. Yes. So if you are into horror or any kind of trippiness with gore and grotesqueries, stuff that will really kind of blow your mind in a dark way, Coffin Bound is for you. I only have read through part of the first issue, but it impressed me enough to where I'm going to just go ahead and throw out that recommendation because I am definitely buying it and I was very impressed by what I saw. So if you're interested, it's a little bit of a gamble. I haven't read it to the end and anything could happen, but I do have hope that this series is good from beginning to end, at least, maybe not the whole series, but the volume. So that is it. Well, what can I say? That was my show for this week. Not too many attendees. I started this at sort of an odd time, but I do appreciate anyone who came by, popped in, checked out what I was doing. Always welcome here. And anyone who comes over afterwards, after this is posted, I always appreciate you coming by and seeing my recommendations and everything. I hope I'm doing a little bit of a service. The world's kind of a dark place right now. Maybe your comic shop's not open, or maybe they have some kind of an arrangement. Like I know a lot of shops are bringing the stuff out. They're doing that at we got M&M Games over here, and M&M Games has an online ordering thing and in-store pickup. You go to the store, they bring it out to you, and you pay that way. So just keep your hopes up, and if you can get your comics, then get them, and if not, then sorry, but the storm will pass eventually. I hope that the U.S. economy is not destroyed by all this quarantining that they're doing. I hope that there is a better way that they learn to handle this, or that a vaccine comes out relatively soon. I know people are saying it could be 18 months on a vaccine for this, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope you all keep your spirits up and have a great day. Yes.